At the break of dawn, in the middle of the Arizona desert, a crowd of strangers meet for one purpose.
You guys coming out here to help me out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
To help another stranger, a father desperately searching for his 24-year-old son, Daniel Robinson.
Since he was a child, he liked to challenge everything.
He was born with a challenge.
And I wanted to introduce him to prosthetics because he's born one hand. We quickly learned that that's something that Daniel didn't want. He let nothing stop him. He decided to be a geologist once he got into freshman year in college. He excelled that. He graduated with honors.
Daniel's first job is checking the viability of water wells in the Arizona desert.
He loved this area, of course, because of the rock formation. You're a geologist, this is the best place to be.
But the terrain became a hellscape for his dad when Daniel went missing back in June from his job site. And what number search is this?
This is search number 14.
Navigating the dangers in the desert, the Army veteran knows firsthand time is of the essence.
When I called the Buckeye Police Department, they told me that I had to wait an extra 3 hours because they had a 12-hour, report time when you can say a person is missing. Then I called them back and put in a missing person report. I got very worried. That's when I got very worried. I asked the Buckeye Police Department to go out and search that area. The officer told me that they were going to send a vehicle out there, a helicopter out to search for him. I was relieved. And then he called back an hour later and said, no, it was a no-go. I'm his dad, and he's my son. I've lost all sense of reality. At that moment, I said, you know what? They're not going to look for my son. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Before he arrived, police did decide to search on foot and with helicopters. This is the last place your son was seen?
The last place.
What do you think happened, David?
I think a lot happened here. I'm very suspicious.
But he doesn't know what. A month in, there's a break in the case, and police call Robinson.
I got afraid, actually, that it's going to be some bad news. He said, no, we just found his vehicle.
Some ranchers found it, and then at that point, we conducted our investigation and additional searches.
What was the condition of the car? If it had rolled over, it sounds like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the car was on its side. The sunroof was kicked out at that point, so he might have exited through the sunroof.
His wrecked car in a ravine, both airbags deployed, Daniel's cell phone, clothes he was wearing that day, and a case of water all found at the crash site. But not Daniel. People don't just disappear into thin air.
True.
Does that sort of feel like what's happened to here?
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very challenging case.
No matter how much the family asks for this to be a criminal investigation, can you make that happen?
We can't make up evidence. Absolutely suspicious circumstances related to the case.
Frustrated and heartbroken, Robinson hired a private investigator. Where are we going?
Down here is where the vehicle was recovered from.
Is that the glass from the car?
Yes.
When you looked at this accident, what are the discrepancies that you noticed right away?
I believe it was in more than one collision.
What does the data from the black box of the car tell you?
That there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle since the airbags came out.
What does that tell you?
That tells me it was crashed somewhere else.
Does that sound suspicious? What explains that?
Well, we had the national expert that came in and provided us his findings, and then they ended up speaking to an expert at Jeep, and the expert says, yes, sometimes that happens, and it's not unusual.
But the data also shows someone tried to start the car 46 times after the crash.
That's something we can't explain.
It begs the question, again, the family is saying it's criminal. It's got to be he's in danger. Do something.
Right. No, I agree. But we need information. We need evidence.
He's got a lot of theories. His words, I think, were, I don't think they cared. What do you say to that?
Can be furthest from the truth.
Losing hope, Robinson began pleading for media coverage.
It literally took 3 months.
While Robinson searched for his son, the country became riveted by media coverage of another missing persons case, the case of Gabby Petito.
In my situation, people think I love our children less or something, or they're less important.
In 2020, more than 543,000 missing persons records were filed. More than 480,000 were cleared. And 40% of the missing are people of color.
There are a lot of Gabby Petitos and Natalie Holloways in the Black and brown community.
That's why former police officer Derica Wilson co-founded Black and Missing Inc. and says too often their cases go untold. Eventually, local stations did stories and citizens began helping search. Did you know Daniel?
No, I just wanted to help.
You're just helping out a stranger on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I can't imagine what that man's going through.
As the search for Daniel goes into its 5th month, another family is in the midst of a terrible mystery for a 5th year. The family of Nikki and Ariana Fitz.
Ariana is very energetic, very happy.
2-year-old Ariana went missing under the most suspicious of circumstances in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2016. Her mother, Nikki Fitz, was found in a shallow grave in San Francisco's McLaren Park, but Ariana was gone.
It breaks my heart that Ariana's not with her mom and Ariana's not with her family, but it also breaks my heart even more is that I know that Nikki wants nothing more than Ariana to be with us, to be home.
Tessa Fitz says she is convinced her niece Ariana was taken by people close to Ariana's mother. San Francisco police searched for weeks. They had some leads, but no arrests. A digitally altered photo was made of what she may look like now.
And she's 8 now. I don't want to see this in a picture. I want to see her face in person.
Should Ariana Fitz be a household name like JonBenet Ramsey?
Absolutely. Why is her case any different from Kaylee Anthony? I can tell you, the color of their skin is the only difference.
For 5 desperate years, the family has continued searching using flyers, social media, and Black and Missing Inc. Do you think it has anything to do with color?
I try not to put myself in the mindset of the race issue with her media coverage. All I want is for there to be the media coverage for her. I think she deserves that.
The Fitz and the Robinsons want only one thing, with hugging their missing children once again. Do you think that Ariana is still alive?
I do believe that Ariana is still alive, and it would mean everything to me to know where she is and to find her. I wait for that day every single day. I believe that day will come.
How long will you search?
Till I find my son. I have to. I mean, he's my responsibility.
Sarah Seidner, CNN, Buckeye, Arizona.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job. Yeah, I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Cornelia Robinson. We're out here to do a candlelight visual on behalf of my son, and also to bring light into other families who are going through similar situations. So thank you. I'm thanking everybody who's out here to support. We need to stand in solidarity to bring attention to this case and to make a statement.
Oh, I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink, and now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice, I'm not afraid, walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And on July the 4th, Independence Day, I am still searching for him. Hello, everybody. I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. My son, Daniel, a graduate of the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, went missing on June the 23rd of last year. I have been currently and still currently and have since been searching for my son. My son, like I said, graduated from College of Charleston. Decided to leave what I like to call the bird nest, to start his own career, to start his life. He chose the city of Phoenix in Arizona to start his career. He started with a job, his first job with a company called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. It's also called Matrix New World. They hired him on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. What his job entails from that engineering company is to go out into various well sites all over Arizona to check the viability of those wells. The reason why, because the wells that are being built for community sakes have to produce at least 100 years of water. And that's what Danny's job is to determine if that well indeed produce at least 100 years of water, as well as the rock sediments and things that come out of the water for that water to be viable. So drinkable. Thank you again for coming in on this Q&A. Like I said, my son on June 23rd went missing. He first started off that morning, according to his job, that he started at the one well site at roughly around 7 o'clock that morning. Once he left that that first well site, he went to a second one where he eventually would become missing. He was on the way to the second one, according to the worker, the only person and the one person that was already at the well site waiting on him. Said that my son called to get directions to the location. He met my son out on the roadway outside of that desert area, and they had a little. Once my son arrived, they had a little quick conversation. He hopped in his vehicle, my son hopped in his, and my son followed him into that desert. They drove 1 mile west into that desert and 2 miles north to get to this well site. Once arriving on the at the well site, this worker said that he and my son had a brief 10-minute conversation, basically about the weather. And after the conversation, because he decided he wanted to stay, my son decided to go ahead and wanted to go to Phoenix because of the pending rain that was coming. This worker said my son just got his vehicle, waved off to him, and drove off, where he was never ever seen again to this date. Almost 30 days later, my son's vehicle showed up in this ravine right here behind me. Everything is wearing on his body. You see right here on the ground here, right there. Everything from his clothing down to his socks, his underwear. The orange part is his safety vest that he used for his job. Was on the ground in a pile. On the other side of that vehicle, near the wheel side, is one boot, and on the other side here, near the hood of the car, the roof, the engine side of it, is the other boot tucked up under the vehicle, as well as the sunroof panel tucked up under the vehicle. Of course, at the beginning, I decided to put in a missing person report once I realized my son had been missing over 6 hours. Of course, I got first indication that he was missing was when my daughter, who also lived in Phoenix at the time, called me because one of Daniel's coworkers came by, not the same coworker that was at the job at the work site, but it was his direct coworkers from Matrix. Came over to his apartment, her apartment, and inquired about Daniel. Of course, she was puzzled because she didn't know that these people, first of all, knew where she lived, but also the fact that they were coming to see if Daniel was there. Of course, she alerted me, being I'm her father. I told her to go and check Daniel's apartment to make sure he wasn't there. In the meantime, making phone calls to see if he would answer his phone. Of course, we wasn't getting any answers. I checked with his mother, tried to check with other family members to see if they heard from him. Nobody heard from Daniel. I didn't get word until, like I said, I look at the time difference. There's a 3-hour difference from South Carolina to Arizona at the time. This time of the year. And so, once I realized it's over 6 hours, that was problematic for me. Of course, the first department I called was the Tempe Police Department, because my son is a Tempe resident of Tempe. And I told them, hey, look, my son was missing. He went to work, and his job said nobody had located from that point. Of course, they asked me was the last place he was seen. All I knew at the time from the workers that I was constantly trying to get information from, his job said that he was near the White Tank Mountains. So being that it's the White Tank Mountains, the first thing I can think of is to say, hey, look, it's near the White Tank Mountains. I don't know anything about Arizona. And immediately the Tempe Police Department told me that I had to call Buckeye. But I did inquire with the Tempe Police Department to at least do a drive-by to check his, do a welfare check, check his apartment. They told me they couldn't. It's because Buckeye is their responsibility. That's the last place he was seen. So I couldn't get that movement. Of course, I did talk to the Buckeye Police Department from that point. Once I got to the Buckeye Police Department, yes, they didn't initially take the police report. They told me I was 3 hours shy of their 12-hour rule that they have about reporting a person missing. So, of course, I paced the floor for a few hours, and once my time was up, I called the Buckeye Police Department back, in which they took Officer Cruz at the time took a report. Officer Cruz told me that he was going to immediately start asking questions with the coworkers, as well as getting information from myself and my daughter. But he did tell me that night he was going to drive down a road called Sun Valley Parkway, which I didn't know at the time what it was. But he's going to ride down the road in that area where my son, near the White Tank Mountains, where my son went missing, and see if he's stuck on the side of the road somewhere. I felt a little relieved until I started doing some more digging with the coworkers and, inquiring a little bit more information. And I found out that, no, he wasn't missing on the side of the road. The job site is not on the side of the road. It's actually job site inside the interior of that desert, out in the desert. So of course, I asked the Officer Cruz to have the Buckeye Police Department go out there to search for my son out there at the well site area in that desert out there. He told me it was nighttime. They would not be able to pull a helicopter out and things like that because it's nighttime. Of course, it was a very hard night for me. Of course, I stayed up. And the next morning, he said they would have a helicopter out there on a flight. I was relieved to hear that. But like I said, when the next morning came, I did get a call from Officer Haley, I believe his name was at the time. He took over for Officer Cruz for the day shift, and he told me, yes, they were going to have a helicopter to go out and search for Daniel. I was really relieved, and then he ended up calling back an hour later saying, no, it's a no go. His higher ups scratched the flight. They said it's unauthorized because Daniel's a grown man. If he wanted to disappear, he can. If he wanted to disappear on his own, he can. And that's when that really threw my mind after all the efforts that I've been trying to see law enforcement take this thing serious, because I knew for a fact that my son just wouldn't go missing on his own on purpose. Not according to what we know about my son. I've been in my son's life all his life. His family been in his life, of course, all his life, and we knew that it was out of Daniel's character and out of his normal activity that he would do to just simply vanish, right? So the Buckeye Police Department said no, they were not going to send a flight or no kind of effort to go find Daniel. Of course, my auntie, she was upset about it. Family's upset about that. Of course, I lost all of it, and I got in my vehicle, grabbed everything I can, got in my vehicle, and just started heading west. Without a plan, without a thought, I just started moving to get there as fast as I can, as soon as possible. In the meantime, while driving up to Arizona, I've been handling calls with the police department, getting updates, trying to get them to at least put in a missing persons bulletin out, as well as some other little items which came late because of my quest. I had to request it and get it going, as well as saying just go ahead and handle things with Daniel's coworkers. Try to find out all the information I can. By the time I got close to Arizona, I did get a call from my auntie. She's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and she called me and she said, hey, she was really excited. She said, we're getting a bird. We're getting a bird. She's very excited that we're getting a bird in the air. Buckeye Police Department told her that they was going to have a helicopter go out, a Phoenix Firebird helicopter that they got from Phoenix Police Department. Will be going out to search for my son. Of course, I was relieved, but that was almost 3 days after my son went missing. For lack of a few hours, it would have been 3 days before they decided to go out and search for my son. And so that was important that was actually get ready to happen. Maybe we'll get some results from that. But of course, that was a little too late based on the time framing when we said the urgency was there for my son when he went missing. Out of everybody who knows about my son, his family, and especially myself being a parent, know exactly more about my son. We know more than what a coworker would know, because my son could act strange in one day or a few days to them. We know we have a lifetime experience with my son versus coworkers who only had a few moments of experience. I want the guys to remember, in my son's case, some of the facts that surrounds Daniel jobs. Daniel is called a hydrogeologist, also called a field geologist. And the reason they call it a field geologist, because he do not work in the office. He works in the field. And when he's out there in the field, that's what he does. He have a work laptop computer that was found in a vehicle. That came because he works in the field. He get his assignments off that computer. He get everything he need. He do not come to a building. He do not hang around coworkers at the job. He don't be sitting at a lunch table with coworkers at the job. So those type things, when the Buckeye Police Department put that in a report and wanted to cause that as a basis to say Daniel wanted to disappear on his own, is frivolous to me. It's crazy, because one thing about, like I said, he's a field geologist. Field geologist, when what I got to entail, what I gathered from his company, is field geologists, they come in through a back door, and they usually drop their little samples off and they're gone. Sometimes they don't even see them coming. They don't see them go. They just come in, drop the stuff off, and they keep it pushing. So that's many days for Daniel as well. Not saying that they don't talk to coworkers at all, because I'm sure they do. He's a friend with one of the coworkers at the office. So he do have friendship there. but he's not there enough for somebody to make a full assessment about my son's mental state at the time when he went missing. Of course, and if somehow the Buckeye Police Department felt that Daniel has some kind of, based on what they want to listen to from coworkers, that he has some kind of mental incapacity, they should have put him as a missing and endangered person. But they chose not to. They chose to say he's just a missing man. He grown on his own accord, blah blah blah, and end of story. Of course, the vehicle, like I said, showed up almost 30 days later. The Buckeye Police Department, according to their report, it will have you to dismiss and don't even know about the rancher who said the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior to him finding it. He's the one that found it. Of course, they put in a report that a rancher found the vehicle, but they also don't want to put in their report that the rancher said it wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior. And the reasons why, I don't know. We're going to pretty much figure out that part as well. The other thing is about that vehicle, because of everything we found out about that vehicle, the vehicle wasn't there. Of course, it wasn't there. And the reason why we know it wasn't there, because Buckeye Police Department themselves, with all their sophistication and the helicopters they claim they use, they also even told me they use low-flying helicopters. All the stuff that they used, they did on that first initial with this Phoenix Firebird helicopter flying over this exact area where this vehicle was found, did not find zero. If I was to go to Phoenix Police Department right now and say, why haven't y'all seen a vehicle if it was sitting right here, they'll say it wasn't there. That's if indeed they really did fly over that area. That vehicle was not there because they didn't see it on the 25th, almost 26th, almost 3 days after my son went missing. They did not see it. And then not only that, on July the 9th, the Buckeye Police Department, after so much pressure from my family and myself, they decided to do a second search. Think about that. It was June the 26th on my calculation. They saying 25th on their report. If we can fight about that, but it's still almost 3 days after my son went missing, right? All the way until July 9th. Think about how far that was before they decided to do a second search. And that's become from pressure from me of getting them to go out there and look for my son. I have already started my desert searches out there at that time. They went out there. Well, I apologize. I take that back. I have not started my searches yet. I was about to get my first search going at the time. But they sent Silver Air Patrol out there. I wanted to get in that desert real bad. Never been in the desert. Wanted to go out there and help the Buckeye Police Department search for my son. They had the Silver Air Patrol people that did end up showing up, because I was out there to make sure it happened, because I didn't believe their story for the first search with the Phoenix Firebird, based on the only guy that seen my son last. He said he was there that day. They claimed that the Phoenix Firebird supposed to been flying over. He said he didn't hear or see anything. Anybody know? He damn sure knew that no Buckeye Police Department was at the well site, because he was there the entire day. So those type things made me weary, and that's why I showed up on July the 9th to see if they really is going to have the search for my son with the Silver Air Patrol. Silver Air Patrol did show up with a bunch of little old men in the white pickup trucks, at least about 5 pickup trucks, and a little couple guys there. But they wouldn't let me in there. For whatever reason, the Buckeye Police Department made this a big secret mission. They didn't want me to be a part of it. They say, hey, they made sure I didn't come in the gate, that they took one of the Silver Air Patrol who could have been out there searching, made sure he put his vehicle sideways at the gate so I couldn't enter it with my car to come see what they're doing, to see if they're searching, or go search for my son myself. So had they done that, they finished their so-called search, and they searched this area, and the vehicle wasn't there. The reason why I know they claim they searched this area, because they have it on a big map. The only problem with that map they gave me, they did have a marker there to say a vehicle is going to be here on July the 9th, but of course the vehicle wasn't there, according to Rancher, on a few days before the 19th. But on the 19th, lo and behold, this vehicle show up. I do want to mention another thing. The Buckeye Police Department was quick to dismiss a picture that was found 2 days before the 19th. A picture where someone took, and a vehicle that looks a description of my son, everything exact, even down to the tires that they claiming is different, was found. Soon as I was going out to go look at this vehicle that was on the side of, supposedly been on the side of the road. This guy who found it said it was missing. And then lo and behold, 2 days later, all of a sudden, Mr. Rouse,
They found out my vehicle showed up on the 19th, supposedly showed up there in this ravine. So a lot of things with that. Also, as well as if you guys think about it, everything that the Buckeye Police Department want to suggest that the way they put it, hey, your son's vehicle flipped and rolled and twist and turn. I mean, his hands are moving. This sound devastating. They say, but the good thing is we believe your son didn't have any injuries because we didn't see any blood in the vehicle. Then I mean, this is stuff they want me to believe. Then they said, oh, and he was wearing the seatbelt, and we know because of the way the seatbelt locks. But he had, we believe he had a severe head injury. He kicked his way out the sunroof, and with a head injury, he went through explaining what head injuries cause you to shred your clothes off and things like that. And they believe he went off under a tree somewhere to cool off and succumbed to his injuries, or some wildlife animal got him. That type deal. Now, after telling me all of that, he took me to the supposed to be taking me to see this vehicle for the first time. And before he got me there, he told me to follow him. I thought he was going to take me to the scene. Never took me to the scene of where this vehicle was found. Instead, he took me to the back of the police station, or some kind of compound they keep towing up cars from, the evidence cars or whatever they want to call it. And they kept it back there. And when I got there to the front, he let me in the side of the gate. He started telling me a story about some other family with his woman who turned out they thought she was missing, and turned out she wanted to be a nun and became a nun. And then he said, well, not necessarily saying that about your son, but what if he just wanted to get away from you guys and join the monastery and become a monk? He suggested that my son somehow wanted to leave his family and join the monastery to become a monk. Once he told me that, of course, I was still stunned because I was really hyped and was scared to really be ready to see this vehicle that my son was supposedly be in, because they told me they couldn't find my son. They told me that date when the vehicle showed up, they said they've been looking for my son over 20 some hours. Over 12 to 20 some hours searching for my son, but they had not one time called me to let me know my son's vehicle was found. The vehicle was found on the 19th, and they called me on the 20th. And the first thing they told the rancher when they came on the scene, when he reported, they told him, don't tell the family and don't tell the news crew. Don't mention nobody. Don't mention the police for whatever reason. They want to keep this a secret. Keep this a secret for a reason. Tell me over 24 hours, though they know I was out there in the desert searching for my son. They are all day. They're searching out there with volunteers searching for my son. But they decided to tell me way after the fact that my son's vehicle has been found. I found that very disturbing. And the reason why he told me they didn't do it, because they didn't want to disturb my sleep. And that was ridiculous. Like I said, fast forward, they showed me the vehicle. And then the first thing this officer told me, when I told him I had enough, he tried his best to get me to touch this vehicle, tried to get me to lift the airbags to look inside, tried to get me to open the door. I wouldn't touch the vehicle. He opened the back door himself, and I saw a little NYPD bag. I pointed and said, "What is that?" He said, "I don't know." He dumped the contents out on the seat. I can't remember exactly what it was because I was so busy looking at something else I saw on the floor, like these big bags of dirt or rocks or something. But now I know those are Daniel's samples of what he got from that well, most likely. And so I seen that. I had enough. I said, "Hey, look, sir, I had enough. I need to get out of here." It was blowing my mind to see this vehicle and the devastation it was. And I don't have my son. And in my mind weren't. And the first thing he could say reacting to me saying I want to get out of there is, "Well, you need to get this vehicle out here today. If you don't, we're gonna have it towed away and you're gonna have to pay storage fee." Heartless, very heartless statement to even think about me getting that vehicle out there at the time. Of course, I asked him for 3 days because I need to get it to Daniel's lien holders to try to figure out what they're gonna do. I'm not from Arizona, didn't know what to do at the time, and plus two, I was going through a devastating moment. He agreed to do that. I called him a day later, and because I found it was supposed to be some pending rain, just in case. I don't know anything about Arizona, how much rain they got, which they really don't get much. And I asked him to put a tarp on it. I was going, "Can I come up and put a tarp on the vehicle?" He said he'll do it himself. All right, thank you so much for putting this tarp on the vehicle. In the meantime, I did have a appointment with the chief of police already in the making, and I got that through the strings of some other people who gave me got this meeting set up with Chief Hall and his whole entire staff. It just so happened to be a day or two after this vehicle showed up, after they told me about the vehicle on the 20th. So it's been roughly around the 22nd or 23rd when I have had this meeting with the Buckeye Police Department.
with Chief Hall. I also brought an observer who was able to listen, and also I recorded this meeting. There's a big full meeting with all of his people, his team, Chief Sanders, and the rest. In that meeting, I learned a lot of things. I asked a lot of questions about these pictures, which only gave me one picture at a time. He kept using the word plural. We took all these pictures, and I got angry. And I was like, hey, where's this plural? What is picture? Plural. He promised me pictures, which he ended up furnishing to me later. He as well. I found out they didn't do any forensic work. And the reason why, because there was no blood. They didn't see no blood in the vehicle. I didn't think. I asked the question, how you know my son had been driving the vehicle? How you know somebody else wasn't driving? Well, his vehicle is what the detectives, one of the sergeant detectives said. A sergeant, other detective said, "Oh, it's his vehicle. So obviously he was driving it." But no, how you know he was driving? You didn't do any forensic work. Check these things out. So it made me angry. Of course, I demanded in that meeting for them to do at least fingerprinting. I want to see, show me that my son was driving it. To this date, they haven't gave me information about some fingerprinting that I requested that they said they was going to do. But I do hear and see it on the report that they did the fingerprinting that I asked them to do. And then a couple of things, other things happening within that meeting, of course, information-wise that I have gotten. But one thing that stuns me the most, once I finished the meeting with them, like I said, they still want me to get that vehicle. They already changed that vehicle, put it over to me, but they say they're going to hold it for me for a couple of days just to do that forensics work and give it back to me. So that's what ended up happening. But before I left that meeting, the detective Biff asked me where I parked at in the parking lot. I told him where I was, and he said I'll be out there when we're done. And when we got done, I walked out to my car. He pulled up with his pickup truck, and he handed me everything that you guys see at the scene, from the clothing to you name it, that was found on the scene. And I didn't know what to do with the stuff in evidence bags. Had them put it in my trunk. Once I got to my hotel room, I did put it in my hotel room. And because of everything that I didn't agree with the Buckeye Police Department assessment to what happened to my son, it just sounded ridiculous to me, and it sound made up. It don't sound right. I couldn't settle it myself, so I asked for a second. I needed a second opinion, so I ended up having hired my private investigator, who's also an accident reconstructionist. I handed all those evidence bags to him that was never opened. He explained to me what about those because he's a former police officer, and he told me, "Hey, Mr. Robinson, you see these check marks right here? It's checked for safekeeping. It's not checked for evidence. The evidence bags, evidence markers were not checked. As a matter of fact, if it was checked for evidence, I would not have it. They would have kept it in the evidence locker. But because they don't feel like it's anything in the kind of case or thing, they turned those things over to me, and did. That's exactly what they did. And not only that, they told me they didn't have. They told me more leads to follow. They even put that on their Facebook page, which they end up taking down once hindsight, once everybody realized what they're saying. When they're trying to claim been doing an investigation when it wasn't, and now they're trying to hide that fact, but it's there. You know, like you guys know, anything you put on social media, it don't never go away. Still there. I have copies of that. So I keep receipts. The thing is also as well, they told my investigator to his face straight up that they didn't have an investigation. Here, everything. That's where he got. If you guys want to know where my investigator got his black box data from, he got it from the Buckeye Police Department. They the one pull it. He got his evidence from that. He read it. And he's like, came to me and said, "Mr. Robinson, it's out of Buckeye. Is they incompetent? Don't know what they're reading, or they didn't care to read it at all, whatever the case may be." But he explained to me what he found in that black box data that they pulled, right? But they don't like their own evidence. They don't like what their own black box data is telling them, because they went to get their own, eventually, hindsight, went to go get their own accident reconstructionist to rebut that findings on the black box. They say, "Oh, it's an anonymity." And like he said on CNN here, you guys heard of the beginning of this thing. He went to a Jeep expert and this and that. He didn't go to a Jeep. He went to a dealership. The guy went to a dealership and asked somebody at a dealership. They really did due diligence and really care about my son's case like that. They would have went to the Jeep manufacturers and say, "Hey, look, this is what we found. We want to know if this is discrepancy, assaulted, blah, 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 so on, so on." And I guarantee you that manufacturer would say, no, it is, because then if that case would be, it'll be a recall. That is not a recall on the vehicle about them having discrepancies on between the computer and the dash and things like that. That would have been a recall, and there's no recall on that vehicle. They went to some worker at some dealership and ask him anything. And the second part is they went to the stream to get this accident reconstructionist because they want to rebut what they want this vehicle to have, this accident happen here. And I'm gonna put another timeline to make you all consider. But they wanted this accident to be right here in this ravine, right? They wanted it to be there so bad for whatever reason. The thing is, you think about it, this accident reconstructionist that they hired, I already had one, found all the evidence we had, the red transfer paint, the 2 impressions on the windshield, somebody beat it in with something, the window that's missing on the driver's side, no glass in the vehicle, the airbags, saying, of course, we got red transfer paint on the side, the 11 additional miles, the 46 initial cycles after the first initial crash, the vehicle had damage sustained on it as it had multiple crash and not just one. The fact that the rancher said the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior, the fact that the Buckeye Police Department searched this area, according to them, twice, and the vehicle wasn't there. The vehicle wasn't there on until July the 19th when that rancher found it. So what happened to it before all of that? They don't want to. They want to have you guys to believe that Daniel wrecked this vehicle here. They wanted to be there so bad they hired this guy to rebut, like I said, to rebut the findings of my investigator. And for that investigator who have never seen, now think about this: how can a person make a full report in a report? I mean, it's probably the same way they had to let this young lady upload her own information, a one-sided hearsay text messages in their report. But you know what? They allowed this guy who's supposed to be an accident reconstructionist, supposed to be where this big great accident reconstructionist. This guy have never seen my son's vehicle. I like to say I'll be facetious when I say this on purpose. He never seen it, never smelled it, never tasted. Never even seen my son's clothing. Never have examined my son's vehicle. Period. And the reason why I know that because I have the vehicle. I've had the vehicle from the time they released it to me, the day after it was found. Right, the time they released it to me. When it came on, I had it towed out of there in the secure facility where I got it now. He have never touched it, seen it, or anything, right? So how can you make a full report about something you have never seen? It's a third-party deal. In my opinion, he was hired just to do just that, give them something to say, to do exactly what they wanted, this vehicle to be there. One of the biggest things that got to me about this whole thing is the fact that after this vehicle showed up on July the 19th, like I said, they didn't tell me. And for that reason, don't tell the father, don't tell the family, and don't tell the news people, right? But then that weekend, they didn't stop. I didn't know this vehicle would be showing up on that week, but I already had my searches already scheduled every Saturday. You guys are coming out there to support me. I'm really grateful for you guys coming out there to support. You came out there to support me in my search, but I had my searches already scheduled. After that vehicle showed up, I was devastated, but it didn't stop me from that. Really made me want to go out there and search for Daniel then, because when I heard about this vehicle that Saturday, I was anxious. I talked to my search coordinator. He had, that's the reason why he was my search coordinator at the time. It was just me and him, and we didn't have any other person. His name was Paul. We went ahead and got him to being that he know about Buckeye. He said he knows some little things he can get information from. I didn't know where Buckeye Police Department have never shown me the location of this vehicle. But my search coordinator at the time, he said, hey, he got some inside scoop. He said, hey, look, I know the area near the area where your son's vehicle been found. I found the area. It's called a quarry. We're gonna meet there. I said, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's meet there. He said it's a bigger area. This is my first time going down to the quarry area, right here on the other side of this hill where this ravine is. First time he said, hey, it's a big clearing back down in there, but blah, he lives in Buckeye. So he let this big clearing. People can park their cars down there, so on, so on. So that next morning, of course, after our meeting, that next few days, that weekend after our meeting, I met him out there on that road. I made it down to this quarry area based on the coordinates and things. But the only weird part was he was late. My search coordinator never ever late, but he was happened to be late this time. And the reason why he was late, because he went to go get Chief Hall. All right. I saw his vehicle coming off in the distance. We down in the quarry. I'm down there with the volunteers waiting on my search coordinator so we can get this search started in this area because of things where we plant. And when I saw them over the horizon coming over here, I saw my search coordinator's vehicle. He had this white Jeep type vehicle, looked like a police vehicle. And there's another one almost looked identical too. I'm like, what is that? That's weird. I see for his vehicle, but where's the other guy? Who's the other guy? When they got all down to our area where all the volunteers started, kind of hanging around, and my search coordinator, he got out, and then lo and behold, it was Chief Hall. Chief Hall, the guy that I just met in that meeting.
He jumped out of his vehicle and he was granted, hey, everybody, y'all want to know where this vehicle was found? Now, here it is, me and my daughter there. And they have never one time had the DC or respect to even show us the location where my son's vehicle was found. They say, y'all come in. It's right over here. Y'all can come with me. And everybody's about to get in cars. They say, no, y'all need. We can walk there. It's real close. We can walk there. And we all walk in with this guy over this hill right here to get into this ravine right here. Walk over the hill from the quarry and walk out there. We get out there and he just start. He point down and say, Mr. Rucker, he had to hold on wheels. You remember I was from the meeting. He said, oh, down. He point down this little ravine. He said, that's where your son's vehicle was found. I was here and I was there and I saw it and this and that, and blah, blah, so and so. And he was talking loud. And I was looking at that little ravine. I'm like, that looks different from the one picture they gave me. I'm still waiting on these other pictures they said they was going to give me at the time. They gave me that one picture, and that didn't look like us. One thing that was in that picture in the background I remember is the stump. What the rancher told me was a cactus that lightning struck and burnt it, right? And I was like, okay, well, he told me that's what it is. And then I didn't see it in the background, but I said, okay, well, this he's the chief police, you know what he's talking about. But in the meantime, the Chief Hall was sitting there grandstanding and talking loud to the volunteers, telling them how the cartels is really bad in the area, and they land their planes on Sun Valley Parkway at night and drop their drugs off and things like that. But I'm thinking in my mind, he's the chief of police, and he's as if the police can't do anything about the cartels dropping drugs at night, and they know this and what they're doing about it, basically. That's what my mind thought. But then at the same time, what relevance it had with my son? Is he trying to say the cartel did something to my son? That's the way he came off. He came off like he was grandstanding, had this thing where making it sound like the cartel did something to my son. But in the meantime, while he was carrying on and going off, my daughter tapped me on the shoulder, say, Dad, this man wanted to see you and his wife or something. I went to go talk to him, and lo and behold, it's a rancher. Never met him before. He was there too, right? He showed up and said, hey, no, I don't know why Chief Hall showing. And it was right here. He pointed down on the screen, and lo and behold, he's right. Because I seen the stump in the background. I said, yes, that looked like that picture that I thought. And then he said, that's a glass right there, and showed me the glass on the ground. And I was like, okay. And that made me and my daughter feel a certain way. We just couldn't leave the area. But when he said that, I don't know why Chief Hall telling y'all the wrong area, and I was he know it wasn't about some out of the other. And Chief Hall turned red in the face, walked off. He had never ever to this date came out there to this desert in my searches ever again. Never ever did it again. How ironic is that? He himself or the rancher never ever came back again to any searches at all, period. That was the first time and the only time. The reason why that happened, I do not know. I just know that somehow from that point on, I had to keep my searches in that area as well. Hindsight, I don't really believe they even did a search the way they did, because the rancher, according to his story, he said, hey, he gave me exact amount. He gave me a few. I can't remember the exact word, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I do have recorded stuff. He gave me exact number of officers that he saw out there. He told me they only had one razor, and they only had one guy doing a drone, right? There was only one dog that came out there, and it was at 10 o'clock at night, because the other dogs was, which is Maricopa County dogs that they would have had to use, was all in training. They got that one dog from Maricopa County that came out at 10 o'clock at night, and they went out for almost an hour, and they rushed the dog back to the truck and took off to a mountain lion that's stalking the dog. So they wouldn't took the dog away, right? But according to their report and what they told me verbally and recorded, they're saying, oh, we had all this, we had the helicopters, low flying helicopters. We have all these cadaver dogs with plural, and these search dogs, plural, searching all this radius of miles and things like that. And the helicopter flying so low, man hanging out the helicopter, looking on the ground, I'm looking for your son, Mr. Rouser. And he said they were so low, flying helicopter so low. If you hold your hand up in the air, you can touch the bottom of the helicopter. That's how low they're flying, trying to look for them. And just belittling me like that. You know that's belittling and trying to see how stupid and dumb they say stupid and dumb stuff as me accepting that kind of thing. And but all of this action hero type stuff, like they're really, really urgently looking for my son. But at the same time, right after all of that rhetoric, here it is in my searches. My searches, we have been finding human remains. And then not only that, in my searches, after finding the first human remains, we found a human skull near this area where they claimed they had cadaver dogs and all that kind of stuff. So that made me question again their thoroughness of their searches or what they were even looking for
if you had cadaver dogs, plural, and all this kind of stuff, your dog should have found those things. They had these search dogs, and they told me, well, in the searches we couldn't find. We ain't seen no footprints, because they're saying your son had no shoes on the feet, no footprints, no shoe prints, no tire tracks, no nothing. Nothing. My son just vanished off the earth, But they got clothes sitting there on the ground and supposedly be my son's clothes, which my family and I are questioning until this day if it is my son's clothing. There were no forensic work done on it. We don't know who clothes that is. They calling it my son's clothes. We're not. As a family, we're not calling that Daniel's clothing. And we talk about it because that's on the story they give us. We don't know that's Daniel's clothing. Until they prove that it was Daniel's clothing, I don't believe it was Daniel's clothing. And they need to go prove that to me. So those are kind of things that's going on in my son's case. But I am just talking for 51 minutes because, again, I told you guys this is a different Q&A. It's pre-recorded. I hope I said that at the beginning. If I didn't, now you know. It's a pre-recorded Q&A. There would not be any comment sections that I can read from. I won't be able to come on the air until this evening. I do have a Q&A this evening. It would be at 5:30 this evening on right here in Phoenix, and also on Pacific time. Anybody in California is at 5:30 p.m. And if you're on the East Coast, it's at 8:30 p.m. I will have the Q&A. So you guys, if you please come by this evening. It will be live. Then you can come ask your questions. Right now, like I said, you won't be able to ask your questions. So today, remember, July the 6th, where we'll have an evening Q&A. It's Q&A prime time. You guys come back on the Q&A prime time. I will have a live Q&A. Right now, like I said, this right here is not live. So that's why you guys see I'm not acknowledging you guys if you are here doing any commenting. But I can tell you that it is going to come on. It did come on as a premiere. So, it's a premiere. So you guys, I have my reasons why I won't be able to do it live today, why I wasn't able to do it live. But I will, like I said, be live this evening, prime time. So guys, if y'all guys can please hang in with me and come back with all your questions about the case. I gave you a little bit of spiel about some stuff. I had a lot more that I could share with you, but a lot of it I can't share with you. So there's a lot of things I can't share, but that's part of some things I do know in a timeline fashion. If you guys want to know a timeline, I can add some more things to that timeline of events that happened. And then it'll make a lot of sense to you that a lot wasn't done. No matter what a report would say and suggest, no matter what an agent would say, oh, Buckeye doing such a great job. No, it's probably such a great job, minimal for how great job based on how valuable you think my son is. I'll tell you what, my son is just as much value as any agent, any police officer, any whoever, the president. He's just as valuable as anybody in this world, in this country. But no, he's no better than nobody, and nobody's better than him. So he should get the same urgency and respect that anybody get, no matter what color you are, or what race you are, or what you do for a profession, or what the case may be. Especially in this circumstance, right? My son is a geologist. He's a scientist. Not so much he's got a speeding ticket. My son has contributed to society. My son is not only that, he's, like I say, he's a brilliant man. He's a brilliant young man growing up, starting his career, keeping people safe by checking viability of the wells. He keeping people investments safe. When you go into some community in Arizona, and here it is, you building your house in the community or near the area where wells should be, and then these scammers can sit out there and tell you that well that you got all these years of water, and then it's Arizona, and through climate change, people don't want to believe it or not, you draw all your water dry up. Then where are you gonna get your water from? Then you have to sit there and take investments out your pocket to try to get water imported in just to have drinking water for your property that you spent money on, not knowing that this well emergency set of water is not available to you. You know what I'm saying? That type deal. So so his job is very important. Very important. And if the water is drinkable, in one thing. So you don't want no poisoned water, some nuclear waste in it, or something else going on with it. You don't want all of that. His job is determining a lot of things. He's a very brilliant young man, starting off in life. And I love him. And I miss him. And you guys can help me out to find him. I really appreciate it. I wanted to mention real quick, too, Day of Remembrance was rescheduled. You guys know that. We do have a tentative date. We're just going to have to, because the 4th of July kind of slowed me up. I had some things I take care of family-wise. But it slowed me up on getting in contact with the state officials again. the city official to get a permit again, another permit to have the event. So once I get an authorization on that permit, then I'll give you guys the date when on the day of remembrance is rescheduled to. So so I'm working on that right now with the team. Also getting that information out, and it will be on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com under the events tab, as well as here on Q&A and some of the other social media forums. So you guys can please come on that and definitely, saying help out. But if you guys new and you've been just watching this Q&A, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You guys been helping. You got me to 1,000 subscribers under a year, and that helped me out. Now I have a community tab and all this kind of stuff that I found out it can be useful to getting Daniel's story out a little farther, and useful for when I bring other families on. As you know, I'll give you guys, remember, some of you were here. I had Sherry Snyder on talk about her mother. You guys can come on, her mother, Diane Francis. Y'all remember her. I'm going to put her information up as well. You definitely, if missing Diane Francis, you go on Google missing Diane Francis, Google that, and you can see the information to come on about Sherry's mother. What I'm saying? But Sherry, her contact numbers, right? Information is there. Contact Sherry at ssnyder0615 I know you guys can reach out to her as well. You have been helping me as well. Like I said, all you do is Google Google missing Diane Francis, and definitely all the information about her will come up. I don't know if you guys remembered Diane Francis' picture, but I'll go put her picture up here for you. This is her mother. So her mother's here, beautiful lady. She looks just like her mother, by the way. Sherry, that is. But this is her mother, and she went missing. Like I said, so I don't know what it's like. This is one of the other pictures here. More, she kind of fits it up in a way so you guys can have an idea what her mother looked like maybe today as well. But you know what? I don't know how it is to have a missing mother, but it's very important that we help the young lady find her mother. And she's been working really hard for years to go searching for her mother. So don't let her down. Definitely, if you can, guys, you can share her story. Just like you shared mine and got Daniel's story out there, you can do the same thing for her. And if you want more information about her mother, again, like I said, there's contacts right there. You can contact Sherry. Her name is Sherry Snyder, but you can contact her at ssnyder0615@gmail.com. And so if you guys can do that for her, it'll be a blessing for Sherry as well. Trying to get information about her mother. But again, thank you guys for coming on here and helping me out here as well to get Daniel's story out there. And I definitely want to continue on fighting. I am fighting. I'm going to continue on fighting for Daniel. Right now, I'm in a different phase. I've been searching for my son out there in the desert over 40 some weeks, cover over 35,000 acres, 32 to 35,000 acres of land out there with volunteers, searching all that area out there in the Sonoran Desert. Of course, there's some areas that still need to be searched, but at this point, because of financial and other kind of reasons, searching have been going really slow. I did have a search of a week, not last weekend, but the weekend before. I had a search, and thank God for the volunteers that came out. Very good ground that was covered on that search. But there's some things I really need law enforcement to do at this point. So my whole efforts right now is kind of shifting back towards again law enforcement, not Buckeye. If you guys support me any kind of way, and I know you are, please, by all means, I am not asking Buckeye to do anything for my family. I'm not asking them to do anything. I'm not asking them to step the plate up because they did so much damage. It is the damages I feel the Buckeye Police had done. First of all, the first thing was to assume they took the whole case off of assumption. They assumed that Daniel wanted to disappear on his own. He's a grown man and he wanted to disappear on his own. The second thing was they waited almost 3 days to do an initial search for my son. The other thing is they failed to get cell phone pings. They failed to get camera footages. They failed to get information off the Uconnect. That they failed to get take the story that our concerns as a family seriously. But they put the concerns or the opinions of coworkers before that. And at the same time, they put some information in their report suggesting that I say my son's in love with a woman that he didn't know, which I didn't tell them. They said about my daughter as well. So it's like some things I feel is false in their report as well. The timeline is right, not right. Everything is geared to try to just make themselves look good when they haven't done anything at all. The fact that sometimes I had to go to Maricopa County to get some records changed that reflect that Buckeye, the one found the human remains when it was my searchers that have done so. They have not found even a construction cone out there, as well as the given when my son's vehicle did show up, they have not looked at it the way it should have been looked at it. They haven't found to try to go after it as a crime happened. They went it as automatically as nothing happened. That though he have, despite the insensitivity of their damage is, though they feel like he had a severe head injury, according to this detective, they still gave me everything and then go look for him immediately after that, as if he's an endangered person with a head injury, butt naked, walking around in the desert. Instead, they said, no, he's coming back for his things. We're going to keep him for safekeeping. Here you go. This is your son things. Here's his vehicle. Good day, good luck. We don't have no more leads to follow. And told my investigator they had no investigation. Right? So the investigation for them was over. They damaged my son's case. They waited so long. They waited well over 24 to 48 hours to even act on my son's case. Did damage. Didn't do any forensic work at the scene. Did damage. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff they have done to my son's case tells me a lot. Tells me a lot. They weren't serious about my son's case. They're not continually not serious about my son's case. To this date, they don't reach out to me and show any concern or really, really investigate. Only thing I can see from them when I do hear from them is something to try to do everything they can, really try to make themselves to the public look as if they've been doing this or doing that, and really in actuality is not doing as it's a game, kind of game type thing for me. So long story short, I'm not here for games. I have been in Arizona fighting for my son over a year now for games. I'm here for action. I'm here to make things happen. I'm not a man to sit down in my hands. I love my son. I love my son. He's mine. And I'd be damned. I don't care who they are with blue badges and guns or whatever they got in the police department, thinking they gonna just treat my son like any. My son will get justice one way out of the other. So definitely don't want them involved in my son's case. I want them to do the right thing and hand my son's case over. They got Maricopa County. This is Maricopa County. Jurisdiction is over Buckeye. You guys, if you guys not aware of that, then I can tell you that now. That's what stuff y'all need to ask for. I want Maricopa County to take my son's case over, take over that case, as well as hand it over to another police department if so, as well as getting Attorney General's office involved in the FBI. So those are the action things I'm going to do right now. And I need you guys from this point on. I know I need to be out in the desert to do a little bit more searching, but I like I said, you guys, I did over 40,000 acres of land, 40 weeks of searches and only 32 to 35,000 acres of land out there. I think it's been a lot accomplished, and it gave me some window in the room to start having law enforcement do their job so we can get something specific and finding out exactly where, if somebody who's involved, to say, hey, where Daniel's located versus going on a fishing fishing efforts to try to find something, saying in a big Sonoran desert. So those type deals. So the thing is, what I'm saying is, you guys, if you guys can support me, please. I still need to remain in Arizona. I do need to remain in Arizona. So anytime you guys can send any kind of donation to help as well, I definitely need to stay in Arizona as long as I can to fight for my son. So if you guys can do that, I need to get those flyer distribution going as well. So I need funding. I need funding for a lot of things. So you guys, my efforts have not stopped because I slowed down on the searches. I'm still out here trying to do everything I can to find my son, as well as helping other families. You guys know I do have a 501c3 filed. The Daniel Foundation, Daniel Robinson Foundation, is in existence. Right now, we're still working on the bylaws and things like that, the Constitution, but we also working on infrastructure where we will be helping other families as well. So, so you guys can bear in with us on that. My team, I have a very capable team, very loving people who's very engaged as much as I am and trying to help other families as well. That's why we had the Day of Remembrance geared to help other families get the resources. That's the kind of stuff the foundation will be doing, getting resources to families and help them better serve and help them find a family. It's been birthed by my desire to find my son. It's been birthed by the pain that I had to go through in my family when law enforcement is not there as they should. So I know I had law enforcement get a little touchy. You know, I know people have their feelings, and the feelings that shouldn't have nothing to do with their job, right? But I'm going to say it this way. The Buckeye Police, to be specific, because, you know, you say broadly police, then you got other police officers get all offended, like talking about their mother or something. I don't know. But, you know, the thing is, a job is a job. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, definitely, I need all the help I can. To make it a long story, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but, you know, I want to get all the help I can to remain here in Arizona and keep on the fight for my son, long as I can, long as I can. To get I need to stay here long enough to make sure I have the right departments. I had the forensics work getting done on this vehicle. I still got this forensics work to come up the money and all that for the forensic stuff, you guys. Only thing I was able to do is one item at a time, which is good. But, you know, I still have the expensive stuff, the vehicle itself, the airbags, the personal computer, his work computer, those clothing to determine to see if it's really his, the red transfer paint, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It need to be forensically done. You know, I want those things done properly as if to rule out foul play. One thing you could say, I think I heard Chief Hall say on CNN, you can't make up evidence. You ain't trying to find no evidence. You're not trying to find anything, because my investigator gave them evidence, but they don't want to accept it. Instead of accepting it, they went, like I said, when they go get an accident reconstruction, instruction is to rebut it. They don't want to find those evidence. So the thing is, how you gonna say, "Oh, we can't make up"? No, the evidence is right there in your face. We gave them evidence. We were reluctant to do it, and when we gave it to them, they didn't want. They rejected it. So those type deals. So, you know, I say again, you guys, if you want to support me in any kind of way, my efforts is to have my son's case removed to a different department that will handle my son's case well. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not a person that's give up. So I don't want no police department to ever feel like somehow if they're not working with me or we're working together, that I'm just gonna walk away from my son and just let anything happen. No, I'm not a man that fold my hands. Now, I just want somebody to be fair. All I'm asking for the police department to do is be fair and really look into it. Simple as that. Look into finding my son. Really do some real work. Do some real detective work. Tell me what you're doing. Let me see. Be transparent. Let me see what's going on as a family member. And you won't hear much from me. All thing you hear from me is like, man, the police department doing a damn good job, and they definitely, and that's what I hope police department do. But like I said, in this case, I have lost all confidence in the Buckeye Police Department. I can't even see them if they even try to pretend like they're doing something great and say, "Oh, we did this. We're looking at this." I don't believe nothing they say, because anytime you can believe anybody, I can't believe I'm sounding critical because I am being critical. You know, if you got a police department gonna tell me a guy who said he was a law enforcement officer, right? And I said, I'm not gonna put a man information out there, but there's some really bad things that came out about him, and had me fooled. And the reason I had me fooled because my investigator I was being fooled because he told me he vetted the man's story, right? So of course I paid my investigator for this. So anything he says, the man is a law enforcement officer, but I believed it, right? Here I am talking about it on my family press conference, found out this man was fraud and lying. He'd never been a federal law enforcement officer, and not even one. Matter of fact, you know, saying there's some other little things about him, like I said, about the guy, right? But he said he seen my son. He said he saw my son through the scope of his rifles. He said he seen my son, all that, but there's no investigation there. It's just that they took the man's story, and they say, well, we vetted his story and it's true. Where's the investigation into this guy, right? So you saying that's the last guy. So it's always supposed to be investigated to the last person, senior person. Where's the investigation other than we believe we corroborate his story? Now, they corroborated his story that he talked to my son. My son gave him directions to where they're supposed to be shooting, where people shoot at all the time, where they shoot, where they have target practice at, where these guys shoot. You can't do it here because I work in it here, and this is private property. But you go over there, that's BLM land, it's a state land. You can go over there and you can shoot, right? This is what the guy's story is to me, right? This is his whole story. My son gave him directions and everything else and told him where he can go shoot and everything else, right? Told him all of that. You know, I'm not saying I want to call somebody a liar, but what I am saying is if he's saying that, I don't want to believe it. The reason why. Think about it. I had this girl and this lady, excuse me, I don't say girl, lady on Q&A, right here on this Q&A. That's a simple question. That's why I love Q&A. You guys have questions, please come back this evening and ask all the questions that you can. Please, I really need your questions because it helped me think, helped me start questioning some things. And I question everything. I question law enforcement. It's okay to question law enforcement. But one thing she said, Mr. Robinson, I thought that that's the son's first time ever going out in that area, first time being at this well site. How he can give somebody directions to where they're supposed to shoot at if he never been there before. And when she said that, it was like a doggone bell ringing, and ding, 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 ding. Common sense. It's called logics. And I think Shiro Nation, she has a lot of questions that are built on logics. But you know what? One that make you think, and that made me think. I say, you know what? I don't know why. And I'm a person that love logics. I love common sense. I love things that make sense. And whenever she said that, I was like, in my mind, I say, why did that never come across my head? Why did I even think about that? Investigating my son's disappearance. And she's right. My son would have never been able to give this man directions. First of all, knowing where people shoot at him, he never been out there before. He don't even have a gun himself. So that type deal. So something's fishy about the story. Not only that, had the Buckeye Police Department did their due diligence, they found that this man changed his story too. He said he saw my son around 1 o'clock that day, right? But he changed the story after he found my investigator came out with a report that says the first accident happened around 1 o'clock that day, right? At 1 o'clock, around at 1 o'clock that day. When he heard that, he changed the story. Oh, I seen him around 10 o'clock that morning. So why do you go check into that stuff? Why ain't you go check into that stuff? Why do we have to take me to say this on Q&A so now you can hear me say it on Q&A, and then you go out there and check into it and try to act like the hero when you found out the information, like as you was doing it all the time. And that's the approach I'm talking about. It's only kind of movements happen with certain things like that after they watch me on Q&A. And I told you guys before, Buckeye watches me on Q&A. The detective told me that. He said, I watch your Q&A stuff. He watched the Q&A. So I'm saying thank you again, Buckeye Police Department, for coming into the Q&A and watching. I wish you do the right thing and hand my son's case over to the Maricopa County, to even Tempe, because my son's a resident of Tempe or something. You know what I'm saying? To the FBI, whoever, and so they can find my son. Because I'm done with the games. I'm done with the lack of expertise, the lack of urgency, or whatever the problem is you guys have in Buckeye. I'm tired of it all. I'm tired of the city council who don't have the balls or any kind of empathy or any kind of something. I don't even know what to call it. Some kind of humanity to even say, sorry, Mr. Robinson, what you're going through. You've been out there for a year in our city, and finding other humans remains out there, as well as our residents out there searching with you and also donating. They can't say nothing. Don't say hello. I came to the city council twice. That's offensive. The mayor, I'm calling them all out. The mayor, the vice mayor, the city council members, all of them, and the city manager and assistant city manager, all of them. Buckeye, period. The whole Buckeye system. Like I said, Maya Angelou said, they show you who they are. You got to believe them. They show me who they are. They show me what kind of people they are, and it go based on their actions, because their actions are saying a whole lot without them even saying something at all. So we already know. We all know that. And I'm telling you, I suspect they'll never say nothing because it's exactly who they are. When you go down the street towards a city, a more diverse area, you will see that even the Phoenix, they had their problems too, right? Because you saw the Department of Justice came in, but they cleaning it up. Because I went there, home, big old welcome. City council member about to step out of line and talk. But I'm just saying the whole point is when I say talk, trying to help out. People trying to help out. So I mean, he was coming off the talking from the stand, and that's against the rules. To make a long city attorney had to jump in and let him know, hey, you can talk afterwards, but you can't do it through the secession, which I hear that happen with all city council meetings. That rule is there, and I get it because they don't want to stop the meeting and stuff like that. So, but they reached out to me even afterwards. The police department, this mayor's office, to city manager reached out to me, right, trying to help some kind of way. Then I went to Tempe, the same thing. My son is a resident of Tempe, and the police chief, as well as the mayor. I mean, the mayor, I met him before, but he definitely sure came down and really personally, say things, try to help as much as you can. You got the mayor, you got the police chief there as well, Glover, I believe his name, and try to help. These guys try to help. Literally just came off and talked directly to you. Even if they wasn't doing anything, I'd say like, even if they wasn't going to do anything, at least they had some humanity to say, my condolences, I'm sorry that you're going through this, Mr. Robinson. That's what each one of them say. They had some word towards that effect. Sorry you're going through this with your family. Our prayers are with you. If we can help you, we can. We'll try to help you as much as we can. Whatever the case may be, they say things like that, right? And but at least they start somewhere. I went to Sheriff Bazone's office in Maricopa County. Same thing. Man opened his office to me. Me and another guy, one of my board members and friend, and also he's my team member. He came along with me. We saw the Sheriff Bazone. Not only did that office show some love coming in, Sheriff Bazone, his assistants was taking notes, just writing. I mean, literally taking notes. I haven't seen that before. I haven't seen that kind of level of concern. Sheriff Bazone took me and he talked to me personally and gave me his condolences, prayers, and everything else. So you kind of look at those kind of people when they start approaching things in that way. That's a first start when it comes to a family, showing some type of empathy. But I went to the Buckeye Police Department and as well as the city councils, not a little bit of empathy, not even a shred of it. I remember standing there the second time when I actually spoke. It's almost like looking at stone statues sitting up there and stone, that the mood, you can feel the atmosphere, the air is stiff and hard and rigid and rich, that kind of deal. No movement at all. Ain't nothing can move them. Nothing. I think the only thing that can move them is something was happening to them. If they had a family member who was missing, they loved their child, God forbid, was missing, they'll move mountains. You'll see the different thing that go around in Buckeye where they reaching out to everybody in the world, in the country, to come down in Buckeye to go find their child. Had that been one of those officers up there with their vehicle turned over right here in this ravine, and that's a police cruiser instead of my son's vehicle and his uniform sitting on the ground, every law for they would pull out every string, reach out to whoever they can and everything they can, and have them out there looking for that officer. They wouldn't be saying the BS. Well, I don't like foul play to me, and they turn the badge in to the chief and all his uniform and give his family the little things in safekeeping. So that would have never happened in a million years. Same as that scenario, or just the fact the vehicle was found here. Let's say the officer went out in the desert and all they knew he went off of Sun Valley Parkway in the desert to go check something out, and then a day, not even a day, the same day, they found his vehicle laying in a ravine like that, but he was gone. Oh, come on now. You know exactly what would have been going down on that. So my son, my son is just as important as these people, and should not be treated less. Nobody should be treated less when their loved one is missing. And that's why I'm an advocate. I'm a fighter. I'm an advocate for other families who's going through these situations. So definitely going to keep on fighting. Guys, if you know any information, there's an anonymous tip line right there on the bottom, or the tip line. I won't just call it tip line, but you can be anonymous if you like. I pay for that service. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week service. Go to investigator myself, but information that is. But the tip line itself is anonymous tip line, and a tip line period. But like I say, you can stay anonymous if you like. You don't have to share who you are and things like that. Of course, it's anonymous. I wouldn't know. Only thing I can get is information when it's shared to me and my investigator. It'd be information just what was told. Like you say, hey, I know blah blah blah, so on. Is that kind of information? And if you have an option also to correspond back and forth, what I'm saying, with myself and my investigator, and you can be do that as well, and get this response. But like I said, if you don't want to talk to anybody and you want to remain anonymous, you can call them off a burner phone if you want to do it that way and stay anonymous. You can do that. Talk to the operator 24 hours, 7 days a week. Or if you don't want to talk to that operator or anybody, you can just text the word tip to the number. It's right there on the bottom of the screen. You can text the word tip to that same number, and the form will come up,
You still remain anonymous if you like. If you don't trust that as well, still use a burner phone. And you know, people don't know what burner phones are. They are phones that you could buy from like a track phone or something. You could buy from a CVS, a gas station, or whatever the case may be. Them little phones, temporary phones, is just a number. Don't know where to track it. You pay for it with cash if you have to, if you think it's a kind of paper trail. So the thing is, I'm just trying to give you all the avenues, because the only thing I'm saying, the only thing I'm concerned about is you go ahead and come clean. Go ahead and clear your conscience. Go ahead and show your manhood. Show your womanhood. Show humanity. Show some empathy. Show something. If you feel like you're a bad person in life, you got one little spark. You can hear, if you can hear the words of my, that means you got that one spark inside of you somewhere deep down that know that want to do the right thing, and you can do the right thing, and you can help this family by sharing what you definitely know. Don't take it to your dying bed. Just go ahead and speak the truth, and go ahead and say, hey, look, this is what happened. You have to deal with the consequences, or the person have to deal with consequences. But you know, saying if you was to make yourself known who you are. But like I said, this is even an opportunity, so you don't have to. You can at least release your what you know without even somebody knowing it's you that released it. So the whole point is, I'm saying it, but at the same time, you can release your own conscience, your self-conscious about, at least I told this family. They got some sense of closure. They know where to go look, what to go, find, or whatever the case may be, whatever to give us the information we need. Because this has been going on a year, and only one person or persons have the key and the know-how to get the answers and get this thing done, said, and done. Don't let this be another statistics. Don't let it be another case where there's answers that forever being found out. Because eventually you might just be that one that found it, and then you name it. I mean, that's the whole point. This a fact. This make sure this family can. When I say this family, my family, get some sense of closure. I don't know how else to say it. Sometimes I say things a little the way I don't really want it to come out, but I really need to find my son. I've been doing this for a long time. You watch me do my Q&A. You watch me out there searching. You watch me begging for money. You watch me doing city distributions, getting these billboards up. You name it. You watch me do all of this stuff, events too. You name it, all in the name of trying to find my son. And I'm tired. I'm really physically, mentally tired, because you know what? I have yet to really, grieve my son, grieve his disappearance. I want to grieve. I want to be able to reflect. I want to be able to talk to my son. If you got my son hostage, let him go. You know what I'm saying? Let him come home. You know what I'm saying? Let him come home to his family. We don't need to know. Daniel could come back to his family, and just let him go. And whatever the information, whatever it is out there, and you hear me, you hear this voice, you hear this Q&A, and you hear me talking, and you have answers. All I'm doing is asking you to please, by all means, please do the right thing, and give us those answers, those closures that we need as a family. Only you can do that for us, and we betting on it. We hoping on it, that you actually do that. That you show some type of humanity, and that there's something in you, the higher power, God, whatever you want to call it, will touch you and cause you to do the right thing just one time in your life. You want to redeem yourself some kind of way, do that. Redeem yourself. Excuse me, guys. All right. But just redeem yourself. So definitely need all the help I can get. Excuse me. I really apologize for that. All right. Also, you guys, if anybody want to volunteer and help me as in a way that you can, don't forget to sign that petition. Well, I don't like to say sign it. Don't forget to put your voice to that petition. That's going to help me get Daniel's story out. That petition helped me fight the powers that be. How about that? Help me get things moving. Help us get some change, because those things I'm trying to do. Trying to change these laws in Arizona as well. And I don't think it's laws. I don't think it's even a policy in a lot of these cities. These things that police officers make up out of their non-caring for family when they say, hey, you have to wait 12 hours or something to report. And I bet you there's no policy in their department that say that you have to wait 12 hours, but that's something they'll tell you because they just don't feel like getting off their desk that day or something. And hoping your person show up before you call back or something. So that means they have to do some work. But saying I aim to change those things. The first 24 hours to 48 hours is important and is crucial. And that's not just myself. There's a lot of other agencies that feel the same way. A lot of nonprofits feel the same way, like Black and Missing.
they believe the same thing. That first 24 hours, 48 hours is very crucial, and we need to get some changes. We have to make sure that happen. That's one thing I was believing when I look for my son. We got to make that happen. It shouldn't be no report time because we know when our loved one is missing. We know the difference between a loved one that just go missing and come back some other time because they going on some little whatever they go on and come back. My son had never done anything like that. So, and we don't suspect him to do anything like that because he's not that kind of person. The thing is, it should be under family discretion if they should add. They work for you. It's almost like you got a company. You have a concern and you want them to go deliver or go find this paperwork for your insurance or something, and then they feel like they don't really have to because they don't feel like it's lost. You know, they make a determination if they want to go do it or not. No, you tell them to go do it. They need to go do it. That's their job, right? These are officers. I'm saying, I'm telling you, I think as a citizen, we relinquish our power, and we don't get these guys. I mean, they put this uniform on. We didn't. Nobody put a gun to their head to make them swear to anything. They decided to join the police force. They decided to say they're going to do this job. They had to do a job. Like I said before, when I first started for son, I suspect that there should be no police. You go into your local police department today. If you don't see people, you see people sitting around and they be on their desk and their phone, looking at their computer, doing stuff. I like to think the police department should like a fast food joint, like Chick-fil-A or something, or McDonald's, where they're just constantly in and out the door, running around, taking these phone calls. The phones is ringing off the hook, and they're just taking care of things. I mean, just handling things. At the end of the night, husband and wives be saying, "Man, this my officer is dead tired." At the end of the day, and that's how they should be. They should be. That's the way the job should be. I remember when I was in Afghanistan. I can say living in Afghanistan because I did. I've been there for 14 months on one deployment. And the thing is, yeah, we're dead tired. I mean, we was on Zulu time and all the stuff. I mean, I can't remember when we really got into sleep. So, but they didn't kill us, but it's our job. So I kind of look at it like that. These guys need to be out there looking for people, loved ones, to working hard as if it's their own child, their own mother, father, whatever the case may be, and go look for these people. These departments don't have the manpower or something out of it. Then they need to find the manpower. They need to get these city managers and whoever to allocate some money towards different departments that handles missing person cases. Because some of these cities, some of these states like Arizona, as well as Alaska and some of these other ones have high missing person cases rate. Those especially are cities and states that need to have departments that just specialize. They have the Border Patrol. They need to have a specialized unit, specialized department that is all they do is find missing people. Dedicated. That's all they do. Dedicated to missing person cases. And if they do that and start putting some of that money, that budget that ain't doing nothing but going around, I was gonna say something, but I don't want to start no political stuff. But whatever they do, and they take that money and start utilizing it in the right places. And people say defund the police. People get that wrong. I'm told you guys, I'm pro police. Believe it or not, you might don't think so. I'm very pro police because we need them. But at the same time, so I'm not pro police BS. I'm not pro police brutality because I'm a victim of that. I'm not pro police doing crooked stuff, arresting people for stupid reasons. A man should not die for a traffic stop because his tail light out or something, or his license suspended or something. I'm not for police killing a high number of black men. What I'm saying, things like that. I'm not that kind of person. But I also would say that when it comes to defunding, I say take some of the funding that they get, yes, and put into places like missing persons cases where there's a department that get that portion of the money to fight for that. Also, I fight for this different scenario, but a different thing, not different thing, but pretty much the same.
take some of that funding for social stuff with police, community policing and things like that. Police know who the community is, working in that community as well. So, and stop giving them all this tanks and all kind of crap. You know what I'm saying? Old military gear in the military, get rid of or whatever. Militarizing the police. I don't believe in that. What we need to militarize the police for? So that's political stuff. I'm not getting too much. But what I'm saying is, I'm a person who's advocate for policing. We do need policing, but you know, same time, we don't need the crap that come out of policing. So, all right, I just definitely need to have them find my son and the many other people that's out there missing. So, anyway, I just want to get some information there. I just wanted to put all these things up here on this on the bottom here so you guys can look on too. If you guys want to contact me, you can do so on what's scroll on the bottom there. That's the number as well as the email address to get in contact with me. If you got anybody who want to be part of the a day of remembrance, like I said, is getting rescheduled. You can also contact me there, but I'd rather for you do it on the email. That way you can say, hey, look, I want to, you're a family member that want to be a part and get your little slot, your table area where you have your table and things like that to be able to share your personal story on the day of remembrance that's coming up. Yeah, please feel free to utilize that email address as well as if you want to use that email address to get on the show. Get on. I don't know if call us a show or not, but get on Q&A. Get on. Please help find me. Then please help find Daniel YouTube channel. You want to get on here to share your family's story, your loved one's story that's missing. By all means, do so. I do have a family that I'm be working on as well. He may be coming on this evening on this Q&A. So you guys look for it. I've been working with him and be finalizing that today to see if he's gonna see if he'll come on the Q&A. So all right. Also, let me see what else I got here for you, because I just want to make sure I got everything. Let's see. All right, let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all I got right here for you guys for this Q&A. Again, y'all keep me and my family in your prayers. I'm really trying to do, like I said, I'm doing everything I can. Please, guys, by all means, if you know anybody who have any information, tell them to share it. And I know I'd be asking you guys. I really know how to. But if you guys want to support, please don't hesitate to donate. I really need the donations as well. I need the guys. I need your support in all kind of ways. You guys, I'm still trying to get the flyer distribution stuff. Keep it going. That's what I've been doing for a long time. Keep it going. Still trying to get an ambassador program going. So I need more people. I mean, there's a lot of people already saying they want to do it. I just need more. I need more people to say it so I can get this thing going. This is going to help in the long run as well as helping with the Daniel Robinson Foundation, because I'll be able to get these flyers everywhere instantly, in a sense, So you guys can please help me with that. Continue to sign up. Use the information there. I'd rather use email because I do have a team that also look at that email with me. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. It's a better chance that your email may get answered a lot faster than on my public cell phone. So definitely want to get people who want to be on the show, who want to be on the ambassador program, who want to be part of the next day of remembrance as well. So, and then the other ways you can help you guys, if you can, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, hit the volunteer in other ways sign. That would help as well, because it's a form. All you have to do is fill out the form, give us the skill sets. People had this form, been filling that form for months now, and we still have your information. Those who listen, who did that, we still have your information. Like I told you, the Daniel Robinson Foundation is still in its infancy stage, and all of that stuff was stuff we were doing ahead of time to get ready for, like I said, the ambassador, to get all this information so we can utilize that whenever the foundation come up. But don't forget about this ambassador program. Like I said, please help distribute flyers. Become an ambassador for your city. You can go please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. You can say, hey, look, I want to be part of the ambassador program, and then I can put you down. Or you can go, like I said, help in other ways tab, volunteer in other ways tab. That's straight on the bottom there. And fill out the information and say, hey, I want to do the ambassador program. You can do it that way as well. That's one of the better ways as well. We still have it on file.
And also, guys, you also print out those flyers, the PDF there on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com as well. So all the information, everything you need is on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Again, y'all look out real soon because we're coming up with the for the Daniel Robinson Foundation launch. Whenever that launch, we're gonna have a launch date, and we're gonna have it when the launch date comes. Want you guys to help come celebrate, because you know what? The reason why I say celebrate, because this foundation is going to help a lot of people. It's inspired by my love for my son, inspired by Daniel, the kind of person that he is, a person that would give you the shirt off his back. Very young, a high-spirited young man that really loved people, loved trying to help people, loved to bring people together. So, same like myself. I want to be able to give back. You guys have been helping me. You have been donating. You have been showing moral support. You have been playing out these flyers. And I want to give back to other people as well. People help me. I want to help people as well. And I think this foundation will do a lot of good for a lot of families out there. So from what my mission statement is, and what I would like to see, I do, like I told you guys, I have a very, very capable team. When I say capable, I really love these people, man. These people, they're God sent. I started calling them off of my A team. They're now not just my A team, they are board members as well as my friends. I love each and every last one of them. They all have their own skill sets. They have their own businesses, to you name it, but they take the time out of their busy schedule to help me put Daniel Robinson Foundation together. And to do, because like I said, they're just as passionate as I am. They have their own passions, and all those passions. We have the same passion when it comes together. Our passions to help other people. We have all these passions come together, and man, it's a beautiful thing. You guys get to learn to know who the team is. You see it on the introduction there, and I will play it on the way out. So it's 2 videos I'm gonna play on the way out. It's gonna be the introduction. We're gonna talk about the A Day of Remembrance and reschedule, but also you can see the team members there. Also, they are the board members for the Daniel Robinson Foundation. And then as well, it's going to be the video that I love the most. And I want y'all to pray for these families. Pray for these families. That's why I like to play that video. It's a prayer for these families. If you can watch it, it's really touching. I put it together. I put it together because when I was putting it together, I did it for a day for fast and prayer. But also I like to use it for, just saying pray for these families who's going through the same situation that we're going through, me and my family. But like I said, the first video I'm about to play now before I end it is going to be the introduction to my team members as well as my board members, and also his events. It's actually an event video, different event. They're going to tell you about the A Day of Remembrance being rescheduled, and so you guys can be aware of that. And then after that, like I said, after that video, then it'll be what I was gonna say after that one, it'll be after that video, it'll be they want for the prayer, and then that'll be it for this evening Q&A. I'm trying to look at it at the same time, make sure I'm pushing the right one, so I won't push the wrong one on this ending. So, but here, without further ado, thank you so much, you guys, for coming in and joining in on this Q&A. Like I said, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate each and every last one of you. You have been very key people to everything I have done. You share so much love, and I really never forget it. So one thing I have again, when I find my son, I would tell him everything. I like, look, find my son, and like, hey, look, man, he's got so many people that love you and that really tried and really hard, was looking for you, and I'm glad we found him alive. And that's what I'm gonna believe. I'm gonna believe I'm gonna find my son alive and bring him back home. So if anything else felt as well, I'm still, like I said, grateful for you guys for everything you do. God love you, and I hope to see y'all this evening. Please come back this evening, Q&A 5:30 p.m. Here in Arizona time, Pacific time, but as well as 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast. You guys, please come back today on this Q&A, this evening prime time Q&A. Thank you. God love you. I'll talk to you soon.
my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink, and now I trust your gentle hand.